I'm sorry also because I feel like a voice out of the chair, and I am a medical doctor, and I do understand very few things about physics and and the complexity physics. And then now I present this book that uh, uh, I did with my friend Maurizio Iacono, who is a philosopher, and we invited a lot of person and researchers in this to collaborate with us. First of all, I have to say why we decided to collaborate, a doctor and a philosopher. So you know that it is a very old story, and Cicero said that defined philosophy as a medical science for the mind, and also Plato said that the philosopher doctors have the task of opening the eyes of their patients, making them aware of their condition and the hidden roots of their disease. I think that Platon was a precursor of the 4P medicine, in which one of the P is participation. It means that the patient has to be an active actor of his own disease. That is, the decision about the disease should not be taken only from by the doctor, but the patient has to participate also. But we went further because the true wealth of this book is that the blending of languages from obviously philosophical, medical, but also biological, physical, engineering, and also artistic and architectural culture. This is a, a true wealth because in the optic in which that the patient should be, we have to take care of patient in all his aspects, and also the environment, architectural environment should be important. You know that in some places of the world, in some countries, this is a very developing process, mainly in Australia, in USA. There in Italy, there are starting some experiences about hospital and the social architecture. This is an example done by Boeri and other architectures in Milan. But we in the book, the architecture is one of the chapters of the book, but also beauty. It may be strange to talk about beauty, and if beauty can help care, but you know that there are some experience about museum therapy and music therapy, and we have not to consider beauty like La Venere di Botticelli, but also beauty is the Urlo of Munch. And beauty may be a sensitive experience that open our mind. And also another chapter of the book is spirituality. In the field of clinical research, there are a lot of papers published in the peer-reviewed journals on the effect and the role of spirituality in patients' care. And this is an example and a study done in our institution by Daniele Rovai. It has been published in 2010, so several years ago. And you can see that the patients with a liver transplantation, this means that they are seriously ill patients. So who search for God?
Sorry, Alessandro.
Yes.
We don't see the moving of the slide. The slide is just the first one.
And now?
Okay, now yes.
Okay. So if you look at here, these survival curves, the patients who search for God, they live significantly more than those who don't search for God. Obviously, we have to consider spirituality not only in the religious aspect, but spirituality in a large sense. Okay, and also there is another part of our physiology that is the rhythm. So gold in Nature in a paper published in Nature in 2021, he said that the rhythms interact with each other as well as the outside the fluctuating noisy environment under the control of innumerable feedback systems that provide an orderly function that enables life. So Paolo Grigolini, who wrote a very important chapter in this book about complexity, said complexity is like a symphony of rhythms. And it is true. We know that we have macro rhythms like heart rate, like breathing, others. But there are also each cell has its own rhythm, consisting of different types of things like the open and closure of the ion channels. You know that for each cell there are more than 1,000 ion channels. That is it is more than a symphony of rhythms. Each channel opens and closes at a different time at different times. So this is needs to be organized. Okay, and this is an example of human complexity. And I like to say that and together with Maurizio Iacono, who is an expert of the etymology of each words, he said we have the human body is a complex and a complicated integration. Complicated coming from cum and plico, that is a fall together. Complex is cum and plexo, that is intertwined. It is, and Laurie Sherwood in a very interesting review in Human Physiology said that. Do you hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The whole body of a multicellular organism it consists of various body systems structurally and functionally linked as an entity, and that is separate from its surrounding environment. Thus, the body is made up of living cells organized into life-sustaining systems where many complexes and body processes depend on the interplay among multiple systems. This is an example of the complexity, a real example of complexity that is the multifactorial nature of chronic degenerative disease, in which modifiable and not modifiable risk factors the non-modifiable risk factors are sex, age, genetic predisposition, and modifiable risk factors are lifestyle, psychosocial variable, and others. Social context, economic context, environmental context play all together to generate chronic degenerative diseases that are the main disease in the Western world. The chronic degenerative diseases are cardiac ones, or tumors, or diabetes, and others. So we have to look at our body as a very intermingled, as a unique body, where the common dichotomies like body and mind, like reason and emotion should not be considered altogether separately, but they should be considered altogether. But importantly, our human body should be considered also in the context where it lives, because the context, the environment, has an important influence of our function. And you know that there is a part of the epigenetics that is environmental and epigenetics, studying the external events that can remodel and our epigenome. It is a very interesting, also in at the light of the social complexity that is a hot argument topic of Paolo Grigolini. But the crucial point is that, yes, we have to care of patients as a whole entity, but obviously we cannot consider disease. And the cure of disease and the care of patients should be considered as two parallel binary that can have to consider together, and they should be considered together to take care globally of patients. This means that we cannot we have to consider, obviously we have to start from the technical and the scientific progresses of medicine. We have to consider this, obviously. So Iacono and Icon defined postmodern medicine as the science in between, in which between natural and historical sciences, beyond the classical dualism that is object and the object that is the patient, and the subject that is the doctor. They should collaborate together to cure the disease and to care the patients, and beyond the dualism between illness and sick person. And I want to conclude with the words of Maurizio Iacono said, when we say that medicine is a science in between, we mean precisely the fact that if it applies the method of natural sciences, it cannot be reduced to this, because it has to do with the people, with a person, and the relationship established with them. The relationship cannot be between the subject and object, but between two subjects, although different in the role and the power. And this is the last slide. This is a letter published on JACC, that is one of the most important cardiac journals in the world, Journal of American College of Cardiology, in which Daniele Rovai, he was a friend of mine, was a doctor, a cardiologist. He was a really strong scientist. In the last years of his working, he dedicated to the effects of subjectivity, like spirituality in patients. And he published this letter in which he says, Medicine is certainly very complex, and the technology helps us shed light into these areas for better patients' care, but the patient is even more complex. However, we should consider many more variables than we do usually. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, the speaker. There are questions? Question? Okay. We thank again the speaker.